Hello all. I just want to thank our patrons, Ray and Derek. Thanks very much, and I hope you guys are enjoying our show. I know I am.
Tell me, though, what's his technique? That last strike, it seems invincible.
Hi everyone, you are listening to the Immortal Iron Fist Sons of the Dragon podcast. Connor can't make it, and Carl is still a bit AFK, so it's Rebecca, Omar, and Emma. So hi both.
Hey guys.
Hello.
I've not spoken for ages, so I hope you're both well.
Yeah.
And we are
Been a while.
coming back to talk Heroes for Hire, issue
Yay.
13.
Yay.
Yeah, we're more than halfway.
I know, we're getting there. We're getting there. Very interesting cover here with Ant-Man in bondage. So.
This cover, I always forget what the cover of this issue is because I go, oh yeah, Ant-Man is in this issue.
Yeah. Like I totally
Sure.
forgot as well. I was kind of like, oh yeah, they pull Ant-Man in here, and it gets some interesting bits of White Tiger. So so that's the cover. It's very colourful. Besieged in the body of an android. It is written by John Ostrander. Guest penciler Martin Egeland. I don't know how that is pronounced.
Yeah.
Guest inker Hector Colazo. I think. Zeitgeist letterer. Okay. John Babcock. That's very aghast colorist. Oh, I see. We're being funny. Joe Rivas.
Yes.
Geese editor. If only that was a job. Mark Bernardo. And, oh no, this is the job we really want. Bob Harris, snuggling kittens. I have a feeling that is what some of us will be doing later.
Yes.
I will certainly be. Connor probably as well. And the title on the first page is actually Fallout. So I don't know what the actual title of this issue is. Either of you, Omar?
I think it's Fallout.
Okay, cool. No, I just wondered with that besieged in the body of an android.
Yeah, that makes me
in the cover.
Like,
yeah.
I guess that was just
a
tagline. So I don't know how you feel. Like, so this, I just want to say this. I opened this having not looked at this series for a long time, and I was quite put off by the first page. I don't know why. It just looked like this is not the kind of comic I would normally read. I don't know why, because I remember once I got there, I remember where we were at the end of the last issue, and then this one was all these like weird metal pellets coming to Earth, and then a Danger Will Robinson joke. There's a lot of pop culture references in this issue.
There are.
Like, is that normal? Like, it feels like it's something they would not get away with now. But in the 80s,
a lot
things
of
were
things.
a bit more free and loose, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they definitely do pop culture references now.
There's a Batman reference in this.
There is. I love when they do.
I mean, I love that. So I also can't get enough of that. And I do quite like the Danger Will Robinson. Like, I'm of an era that means a lot to me. But it also means I open up the comic and go, what, this is Iron Fist? Like, you know, I'm like, this is my street level heroes, and I've got these things coming in from space with Danger Will Robinson.
Yeah. It's kind of like an Avengers light series.
I mean, like, and I get it's not, I mean, it is Heroes for Hire, and we do know that we've seen them bail out. So we know they've got to get back to somewhere. So they do their re-entry. It's all very dramatic. There's a really terrible one, which is, oh my god, they're all dead.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like the ultimate in cheesy great comics.
Yeah.
Like, I actually genuinely did enjoy it a lot more than I thought page per page. Because you're right, it's like all those things, I was like, that's ridiculous. And then it's kind of funny ridiculous.
And
I
the
mean,
fact that
compared to the previous issues, it's just it's a lighter issue than
Yeah.
the first 12. Yeah.
in some ways,
Yeah. Go ahead, Emma.
relatively speaking, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's anytime you have Ant-Man added, it's always a bit more humorous. Not
Yeah.
always, depends which Ant-Man. Not the current Avengers Inc. one.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. So I just read it the other day and I was like, oh, that's dark. Yeah, so they're bursting out of their metal pellets, and Hercules is just
Mhm.
rips one open. So does
Yeah, they don't seem to have doors. They just, or they're too
no,
dramatic
they
for
seem to have had
doors.
no plan for getting out of these things other than ripping them apart.
Other than to destroy it, yeah.
Unless they were all, so Black Knight's, did he follow Hercules out? Was he in the same one as Hercules? Yeah, maybe.
I think so.
There
Yeah.
seems to be like two of them in each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Black Knight,
At least two.
at least two, yeah. White Tiger's in with Senna. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, there's three in the next one. But Ant-Man doesn't really count because he could be teeny, right, throughout their
Right.
trip.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
right.
also She-Hulk's kind of big. So you have She-Hulk, Jim Hammond, who is comatose, or well, the equivalent of comatose
He's
for an
turned
android.
off.
Yeah,
He
he's
is.
turned off.
Yeah.
Turned
Not
off.
functioning.
Inert. They say it themselves. Inert. And then, yeah. So, and then the final one, the heart wrench. Luke with Danny in his arms, crying his little eyes out. I can still hear his
Yeah,
heart beating.
he's really bawling it out.
He is really bawling out. And yeah, so if you remember back to the last issue, Danny gave up his chi so that Luke would live. And
Mhm.
now we get this situation,
And then he
Danny is
collapsed.
collapsed, yeah, flat out.
Mhm.
White Tiger is very upset by this. Very upset.
Yeah.
Cartoonishly upset.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
Thanos,
it's like you're just waiting for White Tiger to declare her love for Iron Fist.
yeah, I mean, like, they could not have signaled it more clearly in any issue, but specifically this issue. I mean,
Yeah.
she also like half changes into a tiger a few times in a
Yeah.
quite disturbing manner. Like, you know, considering I'm someone that thinks tigers are genuinely beautiful, they managed to yeah. So once we've determined Danny is still actually alive,
Because of Tina.
because of Thena, she makes sure there's a bit of life. So then Black Knight and Thena go off to take him to Oracle Inc. But
And that's
so
where we
she
get our
carries
Batman
Danny,
reference.
and Dane is on his flying horse. Now, I think you could put both of them on the flying horse. I think you could get all of them on the flying horse.
Oh yeah.
But that was like, or you don't need the flying horse. Like, you just have Thena carrying Danny. Like, I'm not really sure why all three of them need to take him.
That's a good point.
And then, oh no, wait, and he says you can bring. Oh yeah, he tells everyone else to bring Hammond along. Obviously Hammond not seen as critical as Danny because Danny has like a heartbeat. To put it brutally, there's a timer on Danny's life, which isn't quite the same as on yeah, and then so they agree to do that. And then, this is where we get the Batman reference. They're going to Oracle Inc. Let's get something that's straight. Oracle is not the lady in the wheelchair who talks to a certain pointy-eared dude. And I was like, I am almost ashamed that for at least a split second, I was like, Dick Grayson doesn't have pointy ears. Like, because she talks to Dick more than she talks to Batman. But, you know, okay.
Yeah, it did take me a second.
Yeah, it was that split second of like, you know, why?
Because it's the pointy-eared dude that's more popular, so
yes.
Has to be
Well,
him.
I mean, Dick's pretty popular. You can quote me on that.
And that's just not generally how I see Batman. I mean, if you're going to infer Batman by some description. Pointy-eared isn't the first one
Yeah, I would have
I
said,
would go
like,
to.
I don't know what I would have called him, but
Yeah. But
billionaire
anyway,
who dresses up funny.
yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I love when they do DC references. I
Yeah,
really
it's
enjoy that.
always fun because it's
Do they do
short.
that more? I mean, does Marvel reference DC more than DC references Marvel? I think so.
Oh.
Do you know,
I mean,
I think they
I don't
do. I think they
remember.
do, but it's not by much. Like I would say there's maybe like 2 or 3 a year in one direction and then 1 or 2 in the other.
Yeah, but I mean,
Because I'm
I
pretty sure there was a
remember a
Marvel
few.
one this year, and there's definitely been a couple of DC ones.
Okay. Yeah, because I've hardly read any from
You
DC referencing
kind of
Marvel.
have to hang around on Twitter and see people laugh about them because no one reads enough of both comics to get all of them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
And they often are in like events or comedy, like Deadpool type titles, like Deadpool
Yeah,
or Lobo, where they feel they can push the boundaries a bit more.
yeah. Maybe Deadpool does it more than any
Deadpool
other.
used to do it a lot.
Absolutely.
Like, he full on made a sort of Snyderverse joke at one point. I can't remember what it was,
Yes,
but
he
like,
did.
yeah, he did. Like when it
Yeah, and there's
when it
Deadpool v
tanked,
Gambit.
he made a joke. Yeah. I mean, but there's a lot of V. So then we get Jane Foster as a fully fledged doctor now.
Yay.
Yeah, I
Hooray.
didn't even notice that she was a doctor already.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't
Until
really
here.
sure contemporaneously, but there's a note that tells us she's now a doctor. I was like, oh yeah, I thought she was
Yes.
a doctor for a while, but yeah. So
Yeah,
this is
that's what
apparently
I like
around when it
about
happened.
Ostrander, the writer.
Yeah.
He just really does his homework.
He at least cares,
Yeah.
which
Mm-hmm.
some writers don't.
Yeah.
She kind of tells them what we know, like, then they tell her how it happened, and then
Mm-hmm.
then we get the first white tiger. I mean, she looks like the Lorax in this, or like something from Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, she looks
Yeah.
horrible.
It's just unpleasant. So she's really annoyed that Danny sacrificed himself for Luke, calling him undeserving.
Mm.
Now, anyone who's read Iron Fist or Power Man and Iron Fist is going to know that if there's anyone Danny would do it for, it was Luke.
Right.
So it is quite funny to
Yes.
have this someone come in and not know that dynamic, because obviously Luke hasn't been in Heroes of Fire the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're not on the outs, but they're not on the ups either in this run. Yet by the end of this
Yeah.
issue, they might be. But,
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm fine with this art. I feel like for some of the emotional beats, this artist is not maybe the best at portraying kind of facial
The
expressions.
Yeah, the
emotions.
expressions become a little bit cartoony.
Yeah, which is too
Yeah.
bad.
But I've definitely seen worse art. So it's just like
absolutely.
even when I'm picking it out, I'm just like, because that jumped out of me on the page. I mean, Luke's expression is almost
Mm-hmm.
just comical, but it's just like that sort of
Mm-hmm.
half
Yeah.
transformation of White Tiger. And then the boys restrain her. I mean, there's She-Hulk there, but no, we have to have Hercules and Black Knight. And they're just
Of
like,
course.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, of course, she drops off. If Iron Fist dies, I will have blood. Jane comes up with the let's give him. Oh, I wish we could give him a chi infusion.
Yeah.
And then, so this is what I missed from like not having done some of the earlier issues here. It's like when it came to Bambi Arbogast, I was just like, I kind of did a little gasp. I was like, I love her. She's like such a key Iron Man figure that I almost forgot she was in this run at all. So I was just like, oh, Bambi.
Oh.
She's Tony's assistant for a long, long time, and
Mm-hmm.
just as amusingly no nonsense with him, because like it's a really interesting one because they put in someone who wasn't young and pretty
Yeah.
for him to
Mm-hmm.
flirt with. So it was this kind of like, I'm not taking any of your crap kind of. So it's kind
That's
of, it
really
was
cool.
genuinely nice for me to see her there. So she sort of turns up and says, someone also needs to, look after Oracle Inc. because
Oracle, yeah.
because now
Right, the practical side of it.
Yeah, she's on the practical side of things. Like someone's gonna have to. No one has power of attorney. Who's gonna take over while Hammond's out?
Yeah, I like that. Because this is such a kind of dramatic and out there team, and the story is so kind of dramatic and out there. It was really nice to have. I really liked her in this issue.
Yeah, and
it was
also
really nice to have someone who's just thinking.
I thought
the
it
normal
anchored it back to the whole Heroes for Hire. It's
Yeah.
because we're going back to the business side of things. Like, we've done all these crazy stuff in space
Yeah.
against we've done also all this other stuff. Like you said, we've got a crazy team, but essentially, this reminds us that it's supposed to be a business.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, there's always somebody like her in Heroes for Hire.
Yeah, so then Dane, Black Knight, sorry, I'm going to switch what I call them by how much I like them in that panel. He remembers that at some point Hank Pym made a journey into Vision's android body when he was shut down. He's like, let's get Scott to do the same.
Yeah. And it says way back in Avengers
Volume
93, so I wonder if Black Knight was already there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it would have been, so it's interesting.
Well, he says he was part of the Avengers at the time, so presumably.
Yeah, he was an Avenger for a while. He's one of the...
Yeah, he was there a while. Oh, yeah, he mentioned there are records of Hank Pym, so it's not like... So maybe he wasn't there at the time it happened.
Yeah, he
just read about it.
He's the book nerd that read up all the Avengers. I mean, what was he doing? Like going, oh, let me read. Is it because they never took him with? They were like, you just look after the mansion. We'll go do the important stuff.
Yeah, when you're on monitor duty, there's nothing to do but read Avengers files, I guess.
Yeah, good for him though. He actually did the homework. I was a little bit horrified.
Came in handy.
And just as they're doing that, we get Misty and
Colleen
that does not look like Colleen, but
like
if you didn't know it was Misty and Colleen, it doesn't really like Misty either, frankly.
Yes, exactly.
So Misty with
don't like the
haircut, and Colleen with Jessica Jones's hair is the only way I can describe that.
True. And the jacket too.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you didn't know,
Jessica Jones jacket,
it would be Jessica Jones and Misty. Like, which, if you've only seen the MCU thing, would make total sense. But it's like a little bit of a double turn. So Misty, obviously very dramatic. Hugs Luke. They all decide whatever it takes. Meanwhile, Black Knight's gone into his scientist mode, and for some reason Hercules starts talking about Skrulls.
Right? Yeah, I love that. I mean, some of the pull-ins from other issues were relevant, but this felt very random.
Just like, okay.
It was almost funny. Like,
I mean, it was a comedy moment because he's apparently like, oh, maybe 1 in every 3 humans is a Skrull. So then Scott makes to make a joke about, well, who's the Skrull here? And it's like, well, okay, but none of that was. It was all a bit random.
Yeah.
So they're setting up Scott to go into gym, find out what's wrong. Scott's being funny. I don't know. Scott's doing Scott's thing. Meanwhile... so previously, She-Hulk had said she was going to go off and get someone who could help with the Danny issue. So back in Danny's room, Luke and the girls are going, oh, I wonder who it'll be. And then Sarbagas says, I had the phone number, so the specialist is going to be here soon. They're sort of speculating it might be Doctor Strange. And it's actually Brother Voodoo.
Yeah, which is quite a cool cameo.
It's very cool.
I really enjoyed it.
And quite often it would have been Doctor Strange. So
and I like the art here.
Yeah.
Where he appears.
Yeah.
Very dramatic.
I love that Bambi has the phone number. She's cool as cucumber about this guy showing up in a puff of smoke. She has herbal tea ready for him. She knows
they seem to know each other quite well.
Yeah. Hi, good to see Jericho. Everyone else is looking shocked in the background. He's like, thanks for my herbal tea. It'd be like, she probably knows how Danny takes his lemon tea. You know, she's got it all sorted. She is a together person.
Yeah.
Then Misty goes a bit racist here. You know, talks about ignorant witch doctors. Okay. Yeah. Luke says the way that he's dressed is a joke. And then Jericho gets to says the man who wears a bumper on his forehead, which is beautiful. It is almost Deadpool-esque in its beauty, and it's even funnier that it's coming from a non-humorous character.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's like, he's like, I am not taking crap from Luke Cage. And he literally stands up for himself. He's like, no, I'm not ignorant. I'm educated. I'm a psychiatrist, and I wear what I wear, and, like, you know, get a life.
Right. And it's a nice way to kind of sneak in, for people who aren't familiar with this character, he sneaks in a bit of his origin story.
It's actually very smooth.
Yeah.
Very smooth. Because it's quite hard to do that, and clearly this is a cameo. So, like, you know, there's no expectation that people would have known this. Oh, look, Colin's got red hair again on this page. That's good. So he sets them all up eventually. He kind of tells them all to surround Danny, and we'll get back to that in a minute. We're now going into Jim Hammond. And it's not I mean, look, it's not very exciting. He's going in. He's going to go find out what's wrong. He makes a fantastic voyage joke comment. So we're going to get a couple of nods to that. Was it Fantastic Journey? Is that what it's called? Whatever that one's called. You know the film.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So the one revelation we get here, which I'm surprised that it came here because I thought this was kind of fairly well known, is that Hammond body was the prototype for Vision. If you didn't know that, that's what they're hinting at here. So Scott and Dane realise that it's not just similar body, it's the exact match, as if Hammond and Vision have the same body.
I think at first Vision's body was thought of to be Jim Hammond's body.
Yeah.
The original Human Torch. But then I think it was it John Byrne who changed all that in Avengers West Coast? I think that was it, because that's when Jim Hammond reappeared as Human Torch again, like from the 40s, and they revealed that they were two different bodies.
Interesting.
Okay.
I didn't know they revealed
I think it was there.
I would absolutely trust you over me. Because I am like, every time I see Vision, my brain turns off a little bit. I don't dislike him. I'm just not that into him. So whereas Jim Hammond, I tend to pay a bit more attention to.
I love his powers. Vision's powers are cool.
Cats. Yeah, but you know, they are cool. That's true. So Dane's taking that's really interesting. Then it all goes a bit psychedelic, and Scott's getting attacked by the electronic equivalent of white corpuscles. So, like, they're attacking him, basically. And he's trying to get out of the body. He gets to the brain to try and find out because they're trying to find out if he's still being controlled before they wake him up. We should probably play that. So, we may as well finish that story, then we'll come back to Danny in a sec. So they go up to the thing. Scott finds the sort of flame cells that he speculates give Jim his power. He turns into the Fire Ant-Man.
This is a funny bit of comic book logic here, that he would have these fire things that is floating around his brain.
Blasts the thing from the controller that was controlling Jim, and jumps out of his nose, and they talk about the amazing fire snot.
Yes.
Back in the more serious room.
Yes. I do like, as much as the Ant-Man plotline interests me much less, I do like the contrast between the scenes, where we have these sort of sci-fi scenes.
I like that it's in and out. I like that it's cut between them, because it gives you that pause to go back to it, and then this sort of change, and they're two very different tones for two members of the team that are out for the count.
Yeah, even just the contrast between kind of the sci-fi-ness of the Ant-Man stuff and the more kind of mystic, the heavenly sound of the candles lit, and of what's going on with Danny.
Jericho's looking a bit Dracula at the back with his big red cape. They're standing around his bed, and he's like, "Oh, it'd be better if we had 4 people." And then White Tiger shows up, and she's giving Misty the stink eye. Actually, I think Misty's giving her the stink eye. Again, she's kind of transforming a little bit, which, I would probably give someone a little bit of a funny look. And then he's, Jericho's like this. Each of you are going to give up some of your life force for Danny, and you see it kind of flowing into him. So
this kind of shows you how much life force Danny gave out. He need 4 people to restore him back.
We've not seen him do it many times. That's how he's actually
look was supposed to be.
Yeah. And it's also, like what we said before, a sign of how much he cares about Luke, that he would do that without even thinking about himself.
Yeah, and how much the rest of them. I mean, it's just a really, really nice kind of core Heroes for Hire team moment where, he gives to them and they give back to him, and they're all willing to give their lives for each other.
Yeah.
It's really
and that's why it's nice that Misty and Colleen do show up. Because, they, even if they just turned up for that, these are the people that would do that for Danny.
Yeah.
So
that's why that's why you miss seeing this in current issues.
Yeah.
Like, even if you just have Danny with Colleen and Misty, and then you've got Luke with Jessica and Danielle somewhere in the background, just having these people together would be a nice series to see.
Yeah.
Whether it's Heroes for Hire or something else.
Yeah, we'll come back to that, because I think we missed a little news segment that we'll put on at the end, because we are going to have these people back together again in a comic soon. So, so they're all like looking a bit pained when Jericho's done his job, and then.
Yeah, I really like this. As much as I'm so on the art in this issue, I really like this panel where he's kind of aggressively siphoning the chi out of them.
Yeah, it's really cool, and they're all looking hit by it, and so I just noticed Misty has blue eyes in this.
Yeah.
So anyway, what I was going to say.
What color are her eyes, really?
Well, there's not many. Remember. I don't think there's many black people with blue eyes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen, so I would swear that her eyes are normally brown.
I'm pretty sure
we would have noticed it before. Danny notices Misty first, which is perfect. I'm sure Connor would disagree. For me, perfect. And he's like, "I thought you heard you calling me," and then he's all lovey-dovey, and White Tiger's sad. She slinks off sad.
Yeah.
I like and I wonder if this is an intentional reference. You and Me, Misty, Forever and Ever always makes me think of the Secret Love mini.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was a reference.
Yeah.
Because Secret Love was done with a lot of love. So.
It was.
Then Bambi, sorry, Mrs. Arbogast. If you didn't know that her first name is Bambi, I will tell you that. She then asks Jericho if he can come help with some emergency maintenance on the 13th floor. And it sounds like the 13th floor is something very ominous, because he's like, "Yes, I will come."
The look on his face.
Jim's been rebooted, and a day later is cuddling cats, as he should be, always, when you can warm your body up, you should always have cats.
It's true.
The scroll panic has been resolved. 24 hours later, we're good.
Yay,
everyone.
amazing.
Don't need to read the Avengers. Hercules is gone. I love this recap. It's just like the scrolls are done. Hercules gone. Jim's worrying if he can trust himself, and he's having a bit of an existential crisis about him not being human. Jen's like, look, we're all weirdos.
Yeah, I quite like this conversation.
It's a nice conversation. And, it's one that I think she was the right one to give it. Even though she's not necessarily the closest to him.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe it's not how human you look, but how human you feel that decides how human you are.
So get over it.
I would personally say, if a cat likes you, you're probably okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we move to our boys. The reason we're all doing this, really, Iron Fist and Danny. And Danny's Iron Fist and Luke. Danny's like, oh, I'm gonna go. Sorry. I've talked it with Misty. I'm a bit like, I get it, but then you get a little note saying he's off to do his own little mini series.
Read Iron Fist number 1 out next week.
Limited series out next week. And Luke's fine. He's just like, oh, you're going to come back. Well, that's all right then. This is an interesting little we are killing the planet. Maybe you have to play villain to save it. That seems a very 2023 theory about climate change and sustainability and stuff like that. Danny's all smiling, and he's like, "Can you imagine a more unlikely friendship than ours, Luke?" he's such a cutie himbo sometimes. And then you get them clasping hands, friends to the end. Poo, poo, poo. Little fire flames.
Dramatic.
It's a pretty fun issue, right?
Yeah,
it's great. I love this. Is my favorite issue in the run.
There's drama. There's no action. It's just, there's some
a little bit action inside Jim Hammond.
Yeah.
It's not often you phrase it like that.
A lot of drama.
It's a pretty fun issue. I'm glad we came back to do it, and hopefully we'll move on with that run, and then we can move on to that Iron Man mini series, Iron Fist, Bambi. I blame it on Bambi. I was so sideswiped by it, and so happy because a lot of comics getting me. So what was I going to say? So there is a little bit of news for Danny fans. He is going to be appearing in Gang War, Luke Cage Gang War.
Yes.
In every issue that has been solicited so far. So we're going right through to January. I think that's issues 1 to, what did I say, 3 or 4, the last one?
I think 3.
3
issues?
I think 3 as well, yeah. So I don't know how many issues there are, if there's any more of it or if there's not. But he's in it, and I think Misty's in it as well, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, there is a Deadly Hands of Kung Fu one with Shang-Chi. If you want a bit of a Kung Fu, it's got David Aja covers, that one, which we don't get, but we do get Luke and Danny. So I'm very interested to see how that goes, because it seems like Danny's going to be more of a ear for Luke, but he also looks like he might get involved in some of the fighting. I mean, as Connor keeps saying,
he will be.
He's still a great martial artist, whether he's the Iron Fist or not.
If Shang-Chi can be part of Gang War without powers, then of course Danny can.
Exactly,
as well.
And it would make sense for him to be like Luke's right hand, and it's just nice to see that,
And I've been waiting to see. I think it's a real. I mean, everything with Luke recently has been a missed opportunity. Yeah. But I've been really wanted to see, just dig into the situation of Luke being the mayor, and of Danny's relation to that, and of what that dynamic is. It's just such a cool and interesting situation, and they haven't done anything with it really in terms of the kind of Luke's core group of people.
And gang wars should be a huge part of that because it's all going to be on the streets.
Yes.
And
and there was an interview from the writer where he talks about Danny.
Oh right.
So
it's Rodney Barnes for anyone interested.
Rodney Barnes, yeah. So he says that Danny isn't Iron Fist at the moment. He's going through an adjustment phase like Luke is. He's trying to figure out who he is and where he fits in the world of crime fighting. Their relationship remains, though. They're still friends regardless of what they do or the title they serve, and they still have a moral compass. When they see things that are wrong in the world, they want to do something about them. That's the idea of being a hero. You can't sit on the sidelines. Again, I can't say what they do, but there's something that wants to be done. So
interesting.
Very nice.
Again, he said he's the interviewer pokes at the writer a bit more. So Danny is a player in this book, he asks, and then writer says, yeah, he's part of the supporting cast. So
nice.
You'll see him.
Yeah, I'll definitely
Excellent.
take it. If I'm gonna see him pop up anywhere, I always like it being a Luke Cage issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Because it just makes a lot more sense than some of the places. Oh look, the trade for Luke Cage Gang War is out in next May. So in case you're somebody who wanted to trade weight it, apparently it's out in May.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking at the issues to make sure I've got them on order.
Amazing that you have that info.
Apparently my comic store has that info. I'm just
cool.
I was just looking to make sure I've got all of the issues on order. So
okay, so it starts this December. Issue 1.
Starts November 29th.
29th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So end of November.
Really,
end of November.
Effectively December, but like the couple of days before December. And then so.
Then probably end of December and then end of January.
Yeah.
Then
actually goes to mid-December, 13th, because they don't put any out at the end of December because of
Christmas. Oh, that's right, because of the season.
Yeah, so we're getting basically we only have like 2 weeks before between the
few
first
weeks,
two issues, and then a month to issue 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Luke and Danny also showed up. A very tiny but really fun cameo in a recent She-Hulk issue where they're in.
Did they? Nice.
They're in She-Hulk's Fight Club,
cool.
which I want a whole run about because I love that premise.
What issue?
Oh God, I'd have to look it up. I don't remember.
But it's a She-Hulk issue.
It's the current run of She-Hulk.
Yeah.
So okay.
Or the new, because haven't they just renumbered to 1? Haven't they?
Yeah.
So possibly the end of the. I mean, it's all the same run. They've just renumbered it because of Marvel.
Yep.
I just can't even understand why.
Marvel.
Oh yeah, I think somebody posted about that.
Yeah.
Well, when you find the issue, let me know.
Yeah.
And of course, next year is Danny and Misty and Colleen's.
Yeah, don't even start me on that because in January. That's the other thing. I'm just gonna look.
Oh, here I'll pause. It's She-Hulk. Yeah, the 2022 run. It's issue 11.
Thank you.
It's a really small cameo right at the beginning, but it's fun because it's a fight club and they're in it. They're in it.
Okay.
Marvel's January solicits. Let me look it up. Marvel's Voices. This is just as we've already had our campaign about why they didn't do it for Luke.
Right.
I'm gonna start my concern now about Danny.
Right.
Because Marvel Voices Legends in January solicits, which I don't believe is out in January. I think it might be out in February. I'm just gonna see if they actually say what. No, it must be in January. Yeah, January 31st. So it's coming out the last day of January for Black History Month in America, which is February. There.
Yeah.
Is Marvel Voices Legends 1, which is the Black History Month one, and it has it has Elijah Bradley and has Misty Knight.
Which is exciting,
Misty Knight gets the anniversary treatment as she approaches 50 years of publication history. So this is in January. Everyone wants to time the clock for if Danny gets one, because I would be prepared to bet we have a Luke
Danny
Cage
and Colleen. Yeah, I mean, it's a big year for this group of characters, and
it's a big year. And it would be quite surprising if Misty is the only one. I mean, look, absolutely fair. She gets it in the Black History Month issue,
right?
Like, no doubt about it.
It would
so
be
that's
nice.
early, actually. I think her
It is early.
first appearance is in December. So
I mean, it does say
they started early, which is good.
It does say as she approaches 50 years of publication history. So like they are
Okay.
recognizing it's not quite her 50th, but appearance. But it's
I actually made a comment to Marvel when they tweeted about it. I said
I saw
that you I'm glad that you have Misty's 50th anniversary, but don't forget Colleen's as well.
Yeah.
So
I saw that.
I mean, she's not as popular as Misty, but I hope that they don't forget her.
A dragon about their Howard the Duck anniversary when they didn't do Luke Cage.
Right.
That I
Yeah.
you know, like
yeah, I'm forever going to be bitter about that. I cannot believe they just skipped him. I cannot believe that.
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
It's just weird.
I know they can't do every single character, but I really hope that Misty gets more than just a story in an issue that she was going to be in anyway, because she's in all of the Marvel Legends Black History Month
but
issues.
It's also like they could have had a Luke one as well. Oh, I guess like for Luke's they could have had a Luke one as well. But
right, they could have done anything for Luke. Yeah, but
even a one-shot special or something.
Yeah. Oh, they've always got tons of one shots. They could easily do a one shot for it all.
They are doing, as a bitter Daredevil fan, they're doing a Daredevil 60th thing next year. So
yes,
I'm gonna be angry. Anyway,
fun times. That's all of our news. Yes. There's good and there's kind of.
Oh wait, there's more.
Is there
more?
Bit,
well, not really news. Okay. It's a reminder for everyone. So the Marvel's Voices with Misty's anniversary, so it has Colleen in it as well. But Danny's anniversary is in Feb. And ahead of Feb, in January 31, we're getting the Iron Fist Danny Rand the Early Years Omnibus.
Oh, are we?
So that's in preparation. So which is great because
that is quite nice.
David Gabriel, the guy in charge of the collected edition side of Marvel, I think, knows how to celebrate these things. Like when it was Luke's anniversary, they released an omnibus for Luke Cage, which had never been an omnibus before. So he, ahead of time, they already solicited the Danny Rand Early Years omnibus in preparation for his 50th anniversary.
Yeah,
so at least from that side of Marvel,
I think they do a lot better on the those omnibuses.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh, has two different covers as well. Direct market cover with the Sabretooth fight, and then the bookstore cover with, I guess that's the first fight, their Premiere 15.
Marvel Premiere 15.
So there's your two choices of cover.
And I'm getting both. Because we don't, because I don't think Danny's getting any other omnibus anyway, so that's my excuse.
I'm hoping one time. Well, I'm always hopeful they'll pull something else together for him. But
yeah, I want an Ed Brisson, Carrie Andrews omnibus thingy.
Yeah, I'm hoping they release the Pay's most recent miniseries as a physical.
Oh yeah,
that would be really nice. I would have that.
Me too. I hope so too.
But not Half the Dragon. They can leave.
No.
They can. And I mean, I'm still fascinated by what happens to Iron Fist from here, because those Iron Fist copies I don't think sold very well.
Yeah,
so
you haven't seen
what do they do now?
You haven't seen Lynn anywhere.
No.
Which it's really interesting.
No.
So
just in Daredevil.
The last time was the Daredevil backup, wasn't it?
Oh right, yeah, yeah.
But
it's the only one.
Writer, so didn't read that. I will look it up on Marvel Unlimited, but I haven't read it so far. So I think that's all the news, and thank you both for making time to come talk about this.
Yeah,
You're
always.
welcome. Of course.
And
Should be
hopefully,
here as often as we can.
yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll get back into this a bit faster. It's always hard. Holidays coming
Yeah.
up as well, and Connor and
Yeah.
I also still plan on carrying on with Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, but I think the next issue is quite a long one, so
Mhm.
we were at this kind of, we didn't have time for it. I've been going away a lot, so cat sitting for my sisters, so this just worked out nicely to get this one up. So
Yeah.
and yeah, so keep listening, everyone, and I will get Connor to record an outro if he feels he needs one. But thank you to all the Patreons, thank you to everyone who listens, and thank you to you guys especially. Everyone
welcome.
email in
Yeah.
and bother Carl to come back and say hi sometime. And we will speak to you
Yes.
again soon. So take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Iron Fist and all other characters in these comics are properties of Marvel and Disney. Any music or images we use belong to their respective copyright holders. We do this for fun, so please don't sue us. You can contact us at sonsofthedragonpodcast@gmail.com. Just send us mail, comments, thoughts, anything you want really. It doesn't even have to be related to Iron Fist. If you don't want it read on the air though, make sure you mention that. You can also find us on Facebook, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast, Sons of the Dragon. Our Twitter, at Iron Fist Podcast. Our SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Sons of the Dragon, hyphens where the spaces are. Our YouTube, Connor Carl. Just search Iron Fist Podcast and you'll find us real quick. We are also on iTunes. If you find us there, give us a review and rate us. If it's less than 5 stars, please say why so we can improve the show. And we're on Podcast Garden in the literature section. And last but not least, head over to our WordPress, Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist Podcast.wordpress.com. That's where I put all the show notes. I'd like to thank Thomas Tissot for composing the Iron Fist theme song we use at the start of our Iron Fist episodes on the podcast. I'd also like to thank Peter John Sikowski for composing the Power Man and Iron Fist theme we use at the start of our Power Man and Iron Fist episodes. And finally, thanks to you guys for listening.